And we're back in the studio Jakarta EE. So it is fantastic that now we know how to use Maven and how we can build our applications. And now that we have covered our version 10 and we talked about cloud native and we talked about the binaries and even how to build the applications, we can talk about how to actually grow our community. I mean, it's ever growing, but we want to grow it even more.
That's
right?
true, yeah, we need
So why would anyone want to be involved in this, Shabnam?
Well, there are actually a good number of reasons that you should get involved, but I think one of the most important ones is getting experience, right? They can gain a better understanding of the technology and also learn from and work with experienced engineers and industry leaders, and I think that's a very good reason for you to get involved. And I think another reason is flexibility, because you can work from anywhere and anytime, right? To be able to contribute to Jakarta and work on Jakarta EE, right? So what else do you think, Tanya?
But I also want to point out from anywhere, like we can see in the chat, people are really dialing in from anywhere. So
True.
It is very important to stress out that this is really truly open source community. And beside the experience and beside the flexibility, you can actually have an impact on the technology. So we are having all these conversations of why is Jakarta even important, why is open source important, but here is your opportunity to discover why and actually have a total influence on the technology and by getting involved. You can also, by being involved and contributing, you can get the recognition. So not only recognition from your peers, but from the extremely well-known senior engineers who can guide you and help you out and therefore recognize your work. So
yeah. So now that you heard it from us, why you should get involved, why not let's listen and listen it from the community members, why you should get involved?
That's even better.
Yeah.
Like we can tell all we want, but let's hear from the community. Yeah.
Mostly the community around it. Committing is providing code, but for me that's a pinpoint to talk about it, meet people, grow my personal understanding of software development in general. So it's much broader than just providing code, but being a committer therefore is, there's more to it than just being a developer, I guess.
This is a technology that really means a lot to me, which is why I've been involved for 10 or 15 years with it. For me, this is a foundational technology that really makes Java, helps make Java what it is. Without it, the entire Java ecosystem wouldn't be as vibrant and as strong. So really, I consider it a very, very much a privilege, in terms of being involved in this community and being able to commit to this technology. Now, what do I enjoy the most? Obviously, it's the sense of purpose of why I'm doing it. But other than that, actually, I've been in a number of different communities over the years, different open source communities and open standards communities. The Jakarta EE community actually is significantly more open and more professional and more cordial. And I think that really has a lot to do with how the Eclipse Foundation runs it, as well as the core committers that started it. So all in all, I think if you're a professional developer and you're looking for sort of a nice, cordial place to contribute, I think Jakarta EE is a really good place for that.
It's my job, is it? But seriously, being a committer is kind of contributing a little bit of yourself to the Java community, and which is great. So it has a feeling of doing kind of the good thing for free for other people.
It's an interesting question, because I think it's the feeling of community is probably one of the first things that come to mind. And then you have things like ability to actually contribute. I mean, we've all used this libraries, things that we've used in our hobby projects, work, you name it. But now you get to contribute and bring something back to the community and to the libraries that you've been using.
So being a committer is great because I think it's also can help others trying to get contribute in the community and also contribute knowledge in the project and keep on moving toward the right direction.
Right, of course there are challenges, especially in Jakarta EE. Releasing Jakarta EE, it's already a challenge. So each release of Jakarta EE is a really big task which needs to be coordinated and distributed between all the participants. And possibly that communication bit is the most complicated challenge because people are working in different specs, have their own timelines, have some other tasks. And it's difficult to combine all of this to build one big product. And we've done it already 4 times, right? So I think we're successful here. Another challenge I can say is, for instance, people are splitting TCK project into moving some bits related to specifications into specification itself. So there is no complexity. People don't need to know about the complexity of a whole TCK project. They need to know only about TCKs of some particular specs. It was a challenging task, but interesting.
I think the biggest challenge is time. So finding time to do that. I think it's kind of difficult to find time when you're doing everything else and to find motivation and energy and everything. But when you actually get to do that and you get all this kind of good feedback back, then you realize that it was actually worth it.
Jakarta EE as a technology has its own unique challenges. It's not a new technology, it's been around for a very long time. With all technologies of this age, there is baggage, right? So there is a perception problem that we need to solve for Jakarta EE in particular, really underscoring how important this technology actually is, even if you're not using an app server. Ultimately, you are dependent on some of these technologies. And of course, there's offshoots of that, right? So again, when you have a technology this mature, it's always a challenge to keep the core stakeholders interested, keep them profitable, making it meaningful to them, as well as making it meaningful to basically the millions of Java developers out there. So those are the primary challenges of Jakarta EE. It's really more about keeping a really old, but also a very important technology set alive and vibrant, hopefully for another 10 or 20 years.
Well, to really find my angle in the big technologies that there are so many other people that have at least as much experience as I have. I have like 15 years of experience, but there are people way more experienced. They know still a lot more than I do. So sometimes I feel, shouldn't I already know this or shouldn't I already understand that? But I don't think I can understand everything. So yeah, finding the places that I want to contribute that are unknown to me is for me the hardest part.
So I don't think there's a lot kind of challenges being as a committer. So basically, I think is being a committer is a great basically you can merge some other people's pull requests or feel help others to get involved and become a committer.
Do it. That's easy. Well, I explained why already. So it is a very, very giving thing. It's a very nice thing to be able to contribute back. So just do it. If you're thinking about doing it, should I do it, should I not? Just do it and see what it gives you back. And if you like it, just continue doing that.
All right. So don't be scared. Don't be scared. It looks scary to become a committer because there are other people and they are stars, and it's kind of, will I fit there? Will they like me or this kind of stuff? So don't be scared. We actually encourage people to get committers because they will help us delivering projects.
I highly recommend people to become a committer first. And you need to contribute to the project, and then is kind of once you become a committer, so basically you can get more involved and influence the direction because you have the the right to do the vote and etc. I think it's a great opportunity for all.
Yeah, you should. Like I said, it helps you grow as a developer, as a person, because there's more to it than just providing code. You meet people, your network grows, your understanding grows. It's really a valuable exercise, and it shouldn't take a lot of time. You can put as much time in it as you like, of course, but it should be doable next to your job or part of your job even, which is better, of course.
There's many different bits of advice you could give. There's not a particular one, but the one that I would give is just get started. Right? There's a lot of different ways of contributing to something like Jakarta EE. There's many different facets. Something as simple as simply writing a blog entry or delivering a talk at your local job or even at your company or at a conference, all the way to actually leading a specification and delivering a specification. There's an extremely large set of things that all need contribution. So I think as a committer, my general advice would be, if you're interested in this technology, and I hope many developers out there are, you can basically get started wherever it is that's convenient and then learn your way. There's a large ecosystem of different things going on, and then eventually you will find your place. And there's a lot of people that will help you contribute and help you find precisely what is that place and what is it that you would really like to contribute.
Want to contribute to a cloud-native open-source project like Jakarta EE? It's actually pretty straightforward. Anybody can contribute by following these 5 steps. The first step is to create an Eclipse account. When contributing as an individual, you need to sign the Eclipse Contributor Agreement, which confirms your intent to provide contributions of code and documentation under the licenses used by the Eclipse projects to which you're contributing. However, in the case your employer is already a member of the Jakarta EE working group, your employer has a member committer and contributor agreement in place that covers all their employees who are contributing, and you do not need to do anything. Based on your interest, you can then visit github.com/eclipse-ee4j for the code and specifications, or github.com/JakartaEE for the Jakarta.ee website to find a project that interests you, and read the project's contribution guide to learn more about coding style and other guidelines. Next, write your contribution. This typically takes the form of code, documentation, or collateral submitted to the project source code repository. When your collateral or code is ready, you will then need to create a GitHub issue or a pull request. This is your opportunity to tell others about changes you've made to the project. After an issue or a pull request has been opened, you'll work with the project team to review the potential changes and add follow-up commits before your changes are merged into the base branch. Once your work has been merged, you will have successfully contributed to an open source project that will be widely used. Congratulations! You are now part of the Jakarta EE contributor community. For more information on becoming a Jakarta EE contributor, visit jakarta.ee/getinvolved.
I hope that was helpful. We actually had an animation video at the end of the interviews that talked about how you can get involved, but in the next studio session, Tanya and I are going to talk more about the steps that you can get involved and contribute to Jakarta EE, right? But in the meantime, it'll be very useful if you can take a look at the polls. There is a question about what's blocking you from contributing to Jakarta EE. So if you can answer that, we can discuss it further in the next studio session. But I think we're running out of time, Tanya. What is the next talk?
We're so busy and we're already ready for our next talk. And we'll have it with Grace and Tom. And it is really nicely named session. It's called To Instant and Beyond, Jakarta EE Applications at Light Speed. So enjoy that one.
Nice.